Thank you. Thank you very much. Indeed, quite interesting to hear the speakers before me that have really laid a good foundation for fundraising from banks, which is really the area that I will focus on in my presentation. And I know it's quite, packed. However, we have a mentorship session next week, Tuesday, where you can log in and get a little bit more information around what we are discussing today. So I'll go right into it. And from a bank financing perspective, there are two sources of funding. So you could either be looking for short-term funds or looking for long-term funds. And on the long-term funds, on the short-term funds, you're really looking at more financing specific needs within your business that are required, that are very short-term. So they're really around funding your cash flow to operate. And in this area, I've listed for you some types of financing that you can walk through the banks to us. You can ask for an excess, normally up to 10 days that you can be able to access to maybe get an urgent need. Maybe you need to clear some goods at the port and your payment is coming through. You can get that. You can set up a credit line, which is an overdraft. Within ABSA, we do offer overdrafts up to 6 million that are unsecured, but it's a line that you can actually set up from a bank to help you run your cash flows. Again, guarantees, very important. I find a lot of SMEs don't have enough information about the instruments that are available for them to be able to access better credit terms with their suppliers. So you could easily give a payment guarantee that allows the supplier to give you a longer credit period because they have the confidence that the bank is going to come in and meet your repayment should you fail to do so. However, it just allows that relationship to be a lot more smoother. A lot of contractors are having to keep retention funds with their clients, normally up to 5 to 10%. You can come to us and ask for a retention bond that allows you to give us security that is not cash, that you can be able to then use to run your business, and then your client is holding on to the retention bond. Again, performance bonds, and I think these are probably commonly known within the industry, because then when you're having to do a contract, your client wants to know that they're confident that you'll be able to fulfill the job that they have contracted you to do. Letters of credit. I find this is now becoming more an instrument that's very relevant, especially as we get into international trade. One of the things that COVID has done is to open up the markets for you to think about the opportunities outside. Either you can be an exporter, largely Kenya has been an importer, but now you can be able to start exporting. And in this respect, the letter of credit allows the client that you have out there to have confidence in you, that you will actually be able to perform, make sure that the goods that you deliver are of quality, because only then will the bank be able to release the payment. And at the same time, they have that surety that the payment will come through when it does. And if you are able to also open an export LC, meaning the client that you're exporting to, and they have to pay you, they can give you an export LC instrument, which you can come to the bank and say, hey, I already have a contract, my buyer already has money, and therefore, could you give me money against this instrument? So that's something you can also access, and I'm happy to have more discussions around how you use these instruments to unlock funding for your business. And then the other short-term finance is short-term, largely around local purchase orders financing and invoice discounting, which we do very well at ABSA, but also you can access this from a bank. And here we are really looking to leverage on, when it's an LPO, it's more around yourself as an entrepreneur. Can you be able to fulfill that contract? And around this area, we've developed a program that we call Enterprise and Supply Chain Development that sits within our corporate business. And in this area, we are looking to leverage on our corporates to be able to vouch for you as a supplier for them. And I do know a lot of businesses that are starting have the challenge of being able to, you can get a contract, because I know many of us are street smart. So you'll get a contract, but then you're looking for that finance to be able to finance that contract. within our ESD program, you are able to come to us with just 6 months bank statement. We set up an MOU with the corporate that allows them to assign the receivables to us. And within that arrangement, then we are able to fund you to be able to work on the contract. But at the same time, also, if you've already supplied, we are able to discount that invoice and unlock money to your business. Most of the corporates do take some time before they pay you, and therefore this helps you to keep your cash flows running. The last thing I have on the short-term finance is really around the business credit card, which I find not many businesses use it, but yet it's a form of credit that you can actually use, especially during this time, and we're encouraging businesses not to really use cash. But then it gives you up to 50 days credit before you have to pay it. And sometimes you can also agree terms within which you can be able to pay back your credit card. On the long-term financing, many of us as SMEs, we're very familiar with the asset-based finance, where you're looking to purchase an asset for your business, and these ones are normally self-securing, and you can be able to get it to buy, whether it's company assets. If you're running a hospital, you can get this for your equipment. If you are running a big farm and you need to buy some tractors, we're also able to finance that for you under the asset finance area. And again, the repayment periods there are slightly longer, and therefore the reason why you need long-term financing. I find a lot of SMEs mix long-term financing with short-term needs, and therefore you lock up your capital that you're using in the business to fund long-term needs. So make sure that you find a way of unlocking that capital that you have spent on an item that is not going to generate cash to return your investments within the same year. You ideally want to take out a longer term facility to be able to finance that need. The next category is around the business expansion loans, and here it's really around you want to expand your business, you want to add another line to the business, especially during this time. A lot of SMEs have come to us and told us, okay, I used to do, I had a hotel that people had to come in and dine in, but now I want to set up home deliveries. I need a truck or something like that. So those are some of the things you can finance with a business expansion loan. Probably it comes with some different sort of like stocking levels that you need for your business. So you can be able to access this type of financing. And depending on what it is that you're doing, up to 10 years is available for you to be able to have this. Again, they have put in the ABSA offer where we do give up to 60 months unsecured of up to 6 million. So if you are able to show your track record, and I'll get a little bit into that, then you can be able to come and access that financing. Then there's equity release, and here mostly it's around using your property to be able to unlock the money that you have in there, and you can use it for various ways. You can use it as working capital for your business. So you are looking to see how do you secure your working capital, or you can use it to maybe have another development that you're looking at, and therefore you leverage on the cash flows that your business is generating to be able to unlock this equity release. If it's already rental property, then you'll be looking at those rentals being the source of cash flow to pay that facility. And then the final one there around commercial mortgages, where we are now really using commercial property or business, or property that is already generating revenue to be able to access funding. And here you can get funding up to 10 years for even buying your own premises during this period. The next thing I want to talk about is really the documentation, and here I will not dwell so much because they're very standard. I believe even for equity partners, if you're looking for, they'll want to know that your business is legal, and therefore some of these documents just go into showing your credibility as a business. Probably the last pillar there around financial institutions. As you approach banks, if you already have facilities elsewhere, important for you to come with your facility letter. We want to see the terms that are in that offer that you already had, and see how do we then structure, because the thing around banks is around structuring the type of financing that you need to suit your business needs. If you're banking with M-Pesa, you have a pay bill, and probably it doesn't settle into your statements, your bank statements, then important for you to show all your sources of cash and where they are for you to be able to access funding. Then I want to get into what do banks really want to know about your business. So one of the things we really want to know is, who are you? And Andy alluded to this, and Peter, as he was talking, also alluded to this area, where you really want to give money to somebody that you know. What are they doing? Are they credible? Are they creditworthy? Do they have a track record? Can they show the work that they've done? Do they have customers that are voting for them and saying they're the best? So you'll find for the hotel industry, you'll go to TripAdvisor and you'll find out if that hotel is really getting people liking their services. So those things are very important and not to take for granted. Why is your business better than another one that's doing exactly the same thing? That you should know and be very confident about. And I like how Peter really talked about the credibility and how he knew that based on where he was coming from and what he was ready to take as a risk, he had the full commitment to be able to run that business. Is your business viable? And this is a question you have to really keep asking yourself, especially during this COVID period. I think I was asking Susie earlier, is lipstick still selling as much as before? You know, you have to keep your mask on. So you've got to really think, how do you reposition your product to be able to sell better during this period? So those are questions the bank will want to know, and you need to just have good answers for that. Exactly how much do you need? Don't have wishy-washy sort of questions. You don't want money that will come and choke your business because you're not able to repay, or it becomes a problem for the business to repay. You really want to know that this is how much I need, and you need to do your homework in going around and finding what's the best deal out there. If it is an asset that you're purchasing, if it's a software that you're buying for the business, what can you get that actually gives you value for money and will not break down? So that's important. How will it benefit your business? Will it increase your cash flows? Or is it something that's going to create efficiency in your business? You should be able to have answers to this type of questions. When and how will the money be repaid? Remember, cash pays the loan. And I will show you in my next slide just how to maybe use one ratio to calculate whether you can afford the loan or not. But very important for you to think of how you're going to pay that loan and over what period. Remember, I find most entrepreneurs coming and saying, I want it for the longest period. But remember, you're paying an interest, and that's going to come from your business cash flows. So if you can conserve that, which I ask you to think about, is really important, especially during this period. Again, what are the risks in your business? Have you thought about it? What if you're the only person that can run the business and something happens to you? Then you have taken on debt. Will you leave your family with debt? It's very important to think about that succession. Do you have, or can you take key man insurance to support you should something happen? Maybe you get an accident and you can't go to work and the business relies on you. So those are some of the considerations that you make around the risk in your business, and if you can control any of them, and something, if you get a good banker, they can be able to think through with you what to do. And then what's your contribution? Here we are talking about if you came and you want to buy an asset, and you saw in my other slide, we finance up to 95%. Do you have the 5% that can be able to get in? And here I really advise businesses to have a savings account. You've seen a lot of yourselves, in fact, from the poll that we've run today, are financing your business internally, which is really great. It means that you've had a way of saving money, and please keep that up. We do have very good products within ABSA that you can come and we save. Our ABSA One Biashara account gives you 0.3% cash back every time you use your debit card. And it's a good way of trying to see what areas can you conserve cash. I think that's what we are really talking about here when it comes to your contribution. But also your commitment. Should there be too much risk? Is there a commitment that you're giving the financier that you will actually follow through on your plans and be able to get the cash that you need for the business? And there, I just have a small example, and I know I'm quite Kenyan. I really try to think of my 3 boys and see, can I coin a name for a business? But I said, let me just leave it at Situma Business. So I'm trying here to how are you able to tell whether you can afford the loan? And many of you will approach a financier and then they'll tell you, no, your cash flows don't add up. We are not able to give you a loan. So this is one of the things that you can quickly do if you don't have an accountant. We're really looking here at your net operating income, which is revenue less your operating cash flow, expenses, and then you divide that by the debt service to see what's the ratio that you get. So I've given a small example there about this Situma, who's a real estate developer and is looking to finish a block of apartments that he already started. But because they already have debt, so they're wondering, will they be able to access additional debt? So I've given you an example there of their net operating income is around 2 million shillings, and their interest expense is 300,000, and principal payments is 400,000. Most of the banks will give you a reducing term loan where they don't separate interest and principal. So even better, because you just need to know that the amount that you're paying is what you need to divide that net operating income with. And there you have a ratio of 2.8. A ratio of 2.8 is really good, really good. It means you can access additional funding. So what you'll find as you increase your debt, the ratio of that I've put there as 2.8 reduces, because it means you are taking on additional debt. So you'll find if you're reaching, if you do this calculation and you get one means you're hardly breaking even. If something happens to your business, you'll not be able to pay the loan. And that's the risk that financials will be looking at to see how do you then mitigate the risk that if something happens and your ratio is 1 or 1.1 or 1.2, that just shows that for 1.2, it just shows that you're keeping 20% of the profits within the business. Should something happen like COVID, where you have a regulator asking that you shut down your business, then definitely you'll be struggling. So that's what we review along with other ratios to try and see what's the risk in your business and how do we remove that risk. Sometimes we do find that as part of the debt, there are directors' loans in there. And there is a way we can probably say, okay, you don't have to pay directors immediately. Let's subordinate the loans. And that money becomes available to pay additional debt. So those are options that we can have discussions on to see how we are able to support you. So my final slide is really around the acceptable forms of commitment. And here we are talking about contribution or security that you can give the bank. So there's the assignment of receivables. And here we are talking about the receivables that you already have with your clients. And we've got to make sure that they are good, that there are people who are going to pay you. And I think for me, for SMEs during this period, very important to think about the clients that you're extending credit to. How have they been affected by COVID? So that then you're not having them now becoming bad debtors. So it's important for you to think about that. But then assignment of receivables, something that we take company assets, we do take debentures over your assets and we value them. And those can be used as part of the collateral. Land and buildings, very, very common. Treasury bills, if you have cash, and sometimes it could even be third-party cash. And we find that happening where maybe somebody in the family doesn't want to use their money, but they're happy to give you that. And the same to land and buildings. We do take third-party securities. You might find that probably one of the investors you find is out of the country. They're not able to move money directly to you, but you can approach us and ask us, can they do for us a standby letter of credit that should something happen, that they'll be able to support you repay the facility. And those are instruments that we can take to support you collateralize your loan. Of course, we do have guarantee schemes, and all these things are determined by financiers based on the risk that they see in their business and the tenor of the facility that you're looking for. So I think I'll stop there around the bank financing, and we'll take questions later.